At our business segment, we shall be having a conversation with Chinyere Otuonye, financial analyst, and our focus will be on women in entrepreneurship, how they can source for finance for their businesses. Thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
I don't know if it's really an issue for a woman to source funds for businesses. If you have an idea already, I don't know why it should be a problem. Or is it not?
It is one, as women, our culture limits our ability to earn, to have assets, to even get inheritance from family structures. So that in itself is one huge limiting factor. Then trying to balance work, life, career with family responsibilities. It also doesn't give us enough time to dedicate to our work, our businesses. In between, we are called off to tend to the children, tend to the family. So we have little time to dedicate to our work, which also limits our ability to say, yes, we can do so much more. So when we are presenting maybe our business plan or financial plans to someone who we look at as an investor, they do not really see all we do behind the scene as something commensurate to what we are asking for. So yes, being a woman is challenging, it's limiting, but it's also a blessing because we've been created differently such that we can plan, we can multitask, we can do so much more than our counterparts, the men. I'm not saying it in a derogatory way, but that is a fact. So yes, in business, it's a huge challenge for us to access funding.
Which is more beneficial, sourcing for funds as a startup or being in business already and then sourcing for funds, to help get your business to the next level?
Okay, it's like a newborn baby coming out to say, "Hey, I can move this mountain," and someone who have moved maybe a hill coming to say, "Yes, because of what I have done before, I can actually move this mountain." So it's easier to source for fund as an existing business because you have track record, you have financials to show what you've been able to achieve, you have pedigree, and people trust what you do. That's why they patronize you. But for someone coming into a business for the first time, you need to prove your worth. You need to tell people, oh, my product is worth it. Come and buy. You will not have a regret patronizing me. So it's different. It's easier when you have an existing business.
Okay, now, as a woman going into business, already in business and seeking for funds to upgrade, what are those options that you would advocate the woman look to?
Okay. Yeah, there are a lot. Um, I would say for someone who has started life itself, you should have set out some savings. So the first point of call is look inwards. What have you been able to save over time? So your personal savings. Then do your family members trust you enough to give you money? There's this little give me 2K here, give me 2K there that we don't return back. It actually comes back to haunt you when you really need money for something like business. So your family, your friends are the second point of call. If they are unable to satisfy that financial needs, then you can also look at maybe cooperatives that you can join or microfinance banks that can also help you grow your financial worth so that you can access some funds. Else, you can play it big and go for the loans from other financial institutions. Though I strongly normally recommend looking at other sources before you look for loans that you pay back because if it's a new business, you do not understand the terrain. You may be sounding so profitable in your books, making not in thousands now, like millions. in your first 3 to 6 months, because yes, all things are equal. You are removing every unknown from your projections, but in reality, there are so many unknowns, so many policies, so many fiscal things that will affect your sales. So I strongly always recommend look for other sources of funding before you go out for loans that you will pay back. Then the one I really love is the grants. It's not easy to get, but when you do get it, it makes a whole lot of difference. So there are so many financing sources that one can look at and fall back on.
All right. Now, these are the sources that are available, but I don't know if um, in trying to pick up a particular source, are there criteria for selections? Are there reasons that a woman would go for a particular kind of source for financing?
Yes, there are. Um, if you approach maybe your dad, he will always ask you, okay, so what do you want to use the money for? Do you have any plans? If I'm giving you this as a loan, when will you pay back? That's something to support your payback period would be a business plan, something showing step by step what you will do in the business, how you will spend the money, and your financial projections on what sales or revenue that financing option will bring back, so that you can either offset that loan or pay it back. So, one, we look at your character. Some people will ask you what you've done before. So records keeping, documentation becomes very, very important. And this is a strong requirement for most financiers. Unfortunately, small businesses do not keep records, but we keep advising. Always make sure you keep records of your sales, records of your expenses, records of your assets, records of your inventory. These four key things, and even of your customers, because sometimes you may need to show how many customers you have. What do they buy from you? How frequently do they buy from you? Which would correspond with your records of sales, of expenses too. So, in addition to this, your business plan, with some people ask up to 3 years financial forecast, some will ask for 10 years. Then evidence of what you have invested in. That's your equity contribution to that business. Well, so we advise you keep your receipts of purchases. Even if workmen come, this is another one that people fail to do. Your electrician comes to do some electrical wiring or repairs, or someone comes to service your air conditioning system. They don't normally issue receipts, but you in-house should have a document showing so money was given to so workman, so day for the work done, and this is who signed it off. So the person will sign, and maybe the most senior supervisor or the owner of the business, depending on how big the business is, should sign that document as a record showing you made such expenses. So there are some things we may overlook, but this becomes very important. So you need to know how much sales you generated over a period. They may ask you for your last 3 years expenses, your last 3 years income or revenue. So these are documentations that are important.
All right, but before we let you go, Chinyere, are there
Yes.
okay, let's just say for a startup, what is the best finance source? And for someone who is already in business but looking to expand, what is their best finance option?
Okay, the financing option depends on the type of business. Some businesses do not require so much capital. Some people, 30,000 naira will set up their business. So you can easily raise that from family and friends. Some people who need up to maybe 100,000, below 1 million, you can still raise that from family and friends. Some, oh, I forgot this, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, you can also generate that. So if it's something that has a social cost or good around it, You can actually source for funds from friends or through a crowdfunding platform. Else, you can look for
Is there a way you
contributions
can
through.
bring this crowdfunding down to a market woman who is out there or in the rural area? You know, make an explanation in such a way that they can actually grasp what we're talking about.
Okay, for crowdfunding, it's like our local isusu, where people come together and contribute money, but in this instance, you're coming, you are not contributing. People are saying, oh, you have this worthy cause to do. Let's contribute towards it. And many people are doing it now, using it for burial, using it for marriages. When they put you into their friends group on WhatsApp and they say, come and contribute. Oh, I want to marry wife, or I want to bury my father or somebody close to me, and people contribute. That's crowdfunding in its easiest way. I don't know why we limit it to that. We can actually do that in business. So in our local communities or setups, people come together and do that to support a friend or a family member. So if it's for a bigger business, you may need to look out for grants, because one, it's free money, even though it's not really free, but you do not have the compulsion to pay back the money given to you. And there are so many funds that can give you up to $400,000. So it's something people should actually look out for outside the local financial institutions who scrutinize you. 3 months down the line, you're yet to access the funds. And this is something everyone, but I also say, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Look at different funding sources. Some may not give you funds as in cash. Some may give you equipment. It's also a good one. Some may bring you into the organization to understudy them, like a fellowship. It's a good one. It's something that is rare, but it's a good one. So do not lock in all your funding options as cash, and do not limit it to loans or sources from financial institutions, because there are so many other ways to benefit into that your business.
All right, thank you very much. I understand that the grant part is a bit technical and will require some sort of training. But thank you, Chinyere Otuonye, for joining us on business segment on Signature TV. Good evening.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.